subsequently went their separate ways and made independent use of their jointly developed concepts, methods, descriptive language, or products. So that just means you started well together, but now you're going in separate ways, and now, but you still had the knowledge that you had when you were together. Now you are doing it separately, and then people now start coming to say that they plagiarized my work, when it was not actually the case. They were actually working together. So I don't know whether you should also have a document of separation. When you come together, you usually have a document. I think when you are leaving, that document, you should also have one to say how you're going, who will do what, who will run with what, just to avoid that. So the ownership of intellectual property in many such situations is seldom clear. And the collaborative history among the scientists often supports a presumption of implied consent to use the products of the collaboration by the former collaborators. This we've seen so much, especially when you have collaborators that are from not Kenya. So there's one time there's a situation where we had a PI who was collaborating very closely with the Japanese, to the extent that they even called him a professor at one point. They were so happy with him. I gave him an honorary professorship, although he could have been a professor really. And they worked well until they didn't work well. And so one PI, the Kenyan PI, sent a message and said, we've closed the study. We've closed, he told us, close out report, this is what we got, we are done. In Cambridge, if you have the main manuscript, the big manuscript that comes out, once it's published, we don't want to know how you're publishing any other ones. We now close it because it's a lot of paperwork for us. We got that from the Kenyan PI, and then the Japanese PI came and said, open the study. It is not closed. So when the Japanese PI wanted to continue getting the data, he refused to give the data to this guy because he said the data is closed and the data was mine. You had mine, yours, yeah. It was quite something. The director Kemri had to step in, and you can know which side the director Kemri went. Who can guess which side the director Kemri went? No, to the one who had the money. Yeah, yes, to the one who had the money. So let's talk about publishing. Prof. Nanyu has said so many good things about publishing. Why do we publish? For which reason? So that people can look at our work, to avoid others conducting unnecessary research, whether futile or because the answer is already known, for others to build on. I mean, that's how you do your literature review, isn't it? It's because somebody somewhere published. It is unethical not to publish because you have wasted research participants' time, funders, resources, and all that kind of thing. So you know what we were saying earlier, that you either publish or you perish, okay? So you can see the guy with the black thing over his head, that should be the angel of death. He's behind the professor, and the professor is telling him, welcome to the team. Remember, if you follow the university motto, you will do fine. So it means if you don't publish, you will perish, and there's somebody there waiting to cut off his head. So it's funny, but it's also quite sad. Then there's another cartoon I have here. It's kind of depressing. We've spent 3 years on this research paper, and probably only 10 people in the world will ever read it. And let me tell you, this publishing story has become dreadful, because now you not only have to publish in a paper, yes, it's a paper, isn't it? It's in a journal that is of good repute. You also have to get citations. So it's not good enough just to publish. Now people are looking at how many people have cited your paper. And I will not be surprised, Prof. Daniel, if there are people who pay others to cite. I will not be surprised if that's some clever entrepreneur has realized that they can do that. So there's a lot of pressure to publish. So 3 of the 14 Singapore statements deal with publication. And you had Prof. Daniel saying this can be a full week or a full day seminar on publication because it's so contentious. Number 5 says, research findings, you must share them openly and promptly. Many people, including the big pharma, in fact the big pharma are the ones who mostly are not open about what the data was, and are not open about what came out in its entirety. I have been told, I don't know if it is true, that the results from the COVID studies that were did for the vaccine, they've put a moratorium for I think 30 years. We will not know for 30 years what came out of those studies. farmer. So we, again, on paper and in reality, things are different. Authorship. Singapore statement says the responsibility for contribution to all publications. It explains, and as Prof. Nami said, there are 4. We may look at them very quickly, and then publication acknowledgements. Who do you acknowledge, and who become co-authors? So we're going to talk about authorship briefly. So, who is an author? According to the International Committee of Medical Journals Editors, an author is somebody who made substantial contribution to the conception, design, data collection, analysis, and interpretation. So I'm going to tell you, when you receive your proposals, you're going to see the roles and responsibilities of investigators. And very often, almost for like 4 or 5, it will be the same thing. And I would like to ask you to question, are you all really? Did you all conceive the idea? Did you all design the proposal? Are you all going to do data collection? And usually it's not. Usually it's not, but they will tell you that, and then at the end they'll come and say that they were left out of the paper. And yet there are very strict rules about how you can be in an author. Draft or critically revise the article. Now, as Prof. Nami said, a person who brings everything together to make the first draft, in many places that will be the first author, because that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. It could be that Matthew did the introduction, Kinywa did some of the materials and methods, Diana did some of the analysis, Benge did some of this, so everybody. But if Paul or Pariano sits down and takes all of the things that you have written, takes the introduction, the background, ties it to the methods, writes that very first draft that people can now start editing and commenting about, in many cases that is the first draft. And that is why Prof says, if you're not going to do that, just be the fourth author, wait for somebody to do all of that hard work, then you can come and say, I think we should move this to here. I think this is not very clear. Or, you've seen that. Maybe we can change it like this. You left out this piece of data. I think this, and especially for qualitative, you might say that I think there was a better quote for this thing that we're talking about. Maybe we remove this quote and we put this other quote, yeah? But in the meantime, one person had put all of those things together. So that usually would be the first author, because it is a lot of work. You will drink a lot of cups of coffee and you will burn the midnight oil to try and get that first draft out, okay? So if you do that, then you could be an author, approval of the version to be published, and willing to take responsibility for the publication. I won't say what that one is. These are kind of repeated. So the author responsibility, you must declare your conflict of interest. You must be confidential of the things that are discussed between the journal and yourself. You must not have multiple submissions. So you cannot submit a proposal, a manuscript to 3 journals at the same time. You should be able to share your data, and you need approval from the ethics committee. So we're going to look at just the different kinds of authors, and I'll end this presentation and we can have some tea. So there is something, these are the kind of authors that you should not be. Okay? Inappropriate authorship, ghost authorship, honorary authorship, gift authorship, coercion authorship, and guest authorship.
What's guest?
So, here's my ghost. I got it from the people from the West. They have something called Halloween. So when I was looking for a ghost for my slide, I just put Halloween. I got this horrible picture. An individual participates in data analysis and the writing of the manuscript, but is not disclosed as the author of the paper, e.g. contributing pharmaceutical company employees. What do you think of this? You're doing a collaborative study. It's not really collaborative. Pfizer have come, they're doing a clinical trial here in Chogoria. Okay? They're doing a clinical trial. It's a good one. It's it's going to be helpful to us in Kenya. You do the trial, you get the data, you're supposed to be writing it up, and then somebody from Pfizer says, I can help you write it up, but I don't want you to mention my name. What do you think of that? I can help you with the data analysis. I have some really good sources for the literature review. Yes. You know, there are journals that charge, isn't it? They charge for, getting papers, isn't it? So sometimes you don't have that money. So this guy can come and say, don't worry, you've paid for all of those journals, you can access them. So at least you know your literature review is a little bit richer. Have you tried to look for some papers and then they say you have to pay some money? And sometimes it's money you cannot afford, right? You'd rather go and buy romance, sweet potato, and have it for breakfast. Okay. So he says that he can get you access to that journal. So you have a much richer literature review. But he tells you he doesn't want to be written as a copy. What do you think is going on there? It's very sass, eh? Then you become like a Gen Z sass.
Yeah, so I think usually as professionals, if you're working in a pharmaceutical, or rather if you're getting some incentives, it's normally a very important disclosure that you should always mention so that people can interpret the result in that context. So often when this is want to be a ghost, it means basically they just want to avoid the need for disclosing. You know what? Pfizer was part of this study, and that is why this particular drug by Pfizer is actually working. Because if people can see, like people who have affiliation with Pfizer doing, let's say, this particular study, it's normally at the end of the day, people will be like, exactly, that's. So I think they're trying to eliminate the need for having that, disclaimer or disclosure, like, we're really involved in this study. So that for somebody who is very unsuspecting, you'll be like, wow, this drug works. Not knowing the people behind the.
So let's be clear, it's okay for Pfizer to fund a study. And it's okay for them. Usually if they are funding a study, they will be the monitors. They are required by GCP. They have to come and monitor the studies. The monitors will come from Pfizer to make sure it's being done well. But as he says, if one of the people in Pfizer are one of the PIs, then they need to say very that, one of the authors, that when you write there their name, you should see Ann Guru, then you see Pfizer Incorporated. And it is very true. The minute I see that, I'll be saying, I'll take anything in that paper with a pinch of salt. You know, and sometimes you go on YouTube, and then you see that there are some videos that are sponsored. Sponsored by Bloomberg, sponsored by Carrefour, You just say, I just skip them because I know they just want me to buy the Bloomberg, that's all. Let me move on and do something else with my life. So that is why they cannot be a ghost. Yeah. Unfortunately, how would we ever know? Because a ghost is a ghost. You can't see it unless you're a witch. Remember the witch of Endor? She could see ghosts. So it's very difficult to prove, yeah? It's very difficult to prove those ghost authors. But if you ever come across them, you will now know this is a ghost. And sometimes actually you can tell, you know your student very well, and you know how they write. Then they come up with this fantastic paper, and you're like, maybe there was a ghost helping this person. Okay. The next one is honorary, an honorary authorship. Because you want to honor somebody, someone maybe who acquired the funds for the study. It used to be once upon a time in Cambridge that the director wanted to be on all papers. Not this director, previous one. We've had several directors. It's a revolving door now at Cambridge. He wanted to be on all papers. So you put it honorary, It's not done a thing. No clue what you're talking about, but he just wanted to be seen. So someone, or you can put your mentor. You can be doing a study and it's professional who got the money from Bill and Melinda Gates. Yeah, but you're the one who did that with almost that whole, objective. You were given an objective to do and you did it from beginning to end and you wrote the paper. Yeah? But if I say, without professional, she's the one who got the money right on time, make her an author. That is also not correct. That is not research integrity. Can you see my cartoon? We're a great team. He does most of the research, but I write the winning grant application. And he's expecting to be on the paper. Yes.
I have one question and a concern.
You have a question and a concern.
So, I think most teams, the most successful teams are multidisciplinary teams. Yes, you get your child nurse, you get your busy clinician who is seeing 20, 30 patients every day. And then you get this brilliant researcher, so to speak, and also somebody who is very brilliant in applying for these grants.
Yes.
What if we collaborate?
Yeah.
And